Welcome to Boardroom Transformation Talks. Bold visions are easy to approve, but most never make it past the boardroom. In this episode, we explore why big visions stall, and the oversight boards need to turn ambition into measurable results.
Have you ever been there? You've got this truly brilliant vision for your organization, something that gets everyone fired up. Maybe it even gets approved with, real enthusiasm in the boardroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of fades. It never quite becomes that tangible, measurable transformation you pictured.
It's so common and frustrating.
It really is, because approving the vision, that often feels like the easy part, right? The real crunch, where a lot of organizations, and maybe especially their boards, seem to stumble, is actually turning that idea into reality.
Yeah, the execution gap.
Exactly. And, I saw some recent industry research that was pretty sobering. Only about, 3 in 10 large-scale transformations actually hit their full goals.
Wow, only 3 in 10.
Yeah. Think about that. That's a huge amount of effort, resources, potential just left unrealized.
It really is. And, when you start digging into the why behind that, why these big, ambitious changes falter, one thing just leaps out almost every time.
It's a
cultural misalignment. It's consistently right up there in the top reasons for failure.
Interesting.
And it's not just a perception. We're talking nearly half of senior leaders openly saying their organization just doesn't have the cultural alignment it needs to actually execute its strategy.
Half. That's significant.
It is. It suggests this deep internal barrier, a real disconnect between what they say they want to do and how the place actually operates day to day.
Okay, so that sets up our mission for this deep dive perfectly. We want to explore how boards can more actively govern what our sources call the chain of honesty, rigor, and purpose.
Yeah, it's a great phrase.
Isn't it? Let's unpack it quickly. Honesty, that's about fostering, really candid conversations, no spin, talking about what's working and what isn't.
Raw truth.
Exactly. Then rigor, that means discipline analysis, making decisions based on data, and consistent follow-through, no letting things slide.
Holding the line.
Right. And finally, purpose, making sure every action, every budget decision clearly links back to that original vision. It's the integrity of that whole chain that really determines success.
It creates the conditions, doesn't it? For transformation that's not just better, but faster and actually sticks around. Sustainable.
Precisely. So where does the vision tend to get lost? It often kicks off with a great statement, very inspiring, but if there's no disciplined follow-up...
It becomes wallpaper.
Or just a slogan on a slide, yeah. I saw an independent survey once. It found well over half of employees couldn't even clearly explain their company's strategy.
Ouchie.
And here's the real kicker. Even fewer understood how it connected to their job, their daily work. That's more than a disconnect. It's a chasm.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, okay, where are these specific weak points? Where does the chain break?
Right.
Our sources really point to 4 key areas. First up is culture. You might have values written down, but are they actually lived? Are they embedded in how people behave every day?
Stated versus actual.
Exactly. Second, that leads right into behavior, especially leadership behavior. Are leaders modeling priorities that actually align with the strategy, or are their actions saying something else entirely?
Actions speak louder.
Always. Third, and this one's huge, resource allocation. Do the budgets, the targets, the investments actually match the strategic priorities? Or is money still flowing to legacy stuff that doesn't support the vision?
That's a big one, where the rubber meets the road financially.
Totally. And finally, number 4 is leadership accountability, or often the lack of it. Is progress being measured and reported transparently? Does the board actually know what's happening on the ground, warts and all? Or are they getting a filtered view?
That's a really clear breakdown of the pitfalls. So, okay, if you're listening to this, maybe you're on a board, maybe you're leading a big change effort. What do you do?
Right, but the practical application.
It means you can't just launch the vision and hope for the best. You've got to be proactive. Our research highlights 4 key levers boards can actively pull to make sure that vision becomes reality.
Okay, let's get into those.
First one, link strategy to culture. We see it again and again in transformation studies. Getting that cultural alignment right significantly boosts success rates. It's not fluffy stuff, it's strategy.
Foundational.
It is. So boards need to be asking, pretty direct questions like which specific cultural values genuinely support our vision? How is leadership actively embedding those values in daily behavior?
Not just talking about them.
Exactly. And are we measuring this? Are we tracking cultural alignment, or are we still just looking at the financial numbers?
Yeah, and the impact can be really concrete. I remember this example of a global retailer. They had this vision, like be truly customer-centric.
Okay.
But they didn't just say it. They changed their culture around values like empathy, empowering frontline staff,
Yeah.
really fostering innovation right there in the stores, training, feedback loops, the whole thing.
So embedding it properly.
Deeply. And within a year,
Yeah.
employee engagement shot up, I think it was like 18% because people felt trusted, they saw the impact, and customer satisfaction scores climbed 15% in key markets.
Wow, that's tangible. Real numbers.
That's deep alignment delivering results.
That really brings it home. Okay, but culture sets the stage, right? The next lever gets into the actions, ensuring behavior matches intent.
Yes. Culture is the how we do things. Behavior is the what we actually do.
Right, so boards need to see leadership actively modeling the behaviors they want. Things like real transparency, collaboration, accountability. Not just talking about it, but doing it.
Walking the talk.
Definitely. And making sure leaders are recognizing and rewarding actions that reinforce that culture. And crucially, that teams have the skills and maybe even more importantly, the mindset they need for this change.
Absolutely. There was this tech company operating across multiple regions, needed to speed up project delivery. Very. But instead of just cracking the whip, leadership focused on changing their own behaviors. More proactive info sharing, really clear communication across time zones, breaking down silos.
So leading by example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Embedding transparency and clarity. The result? Project delivery timelines got cut by nearly a third. And it wasn't just process. It built trust, real alignment across teams that were miles apart.
That shows how leadership behavior directly enables the strategy. Makes total sense. Okay, lever number 3. Aligning budgets and targets with the vision.
The money trail.
Yes. Research shows that resource misalignment is like one of the fastest ways to kill momentum. People see where the money really goes.
It undermines everything else if it's not aligned.
Totally. So boards need to really insist here. Demand that capital allocation clearly mirrors the transformation priorities. They need to push for what's sometimes called honest budgeting.
Honest budgeting. Tell me more.
It means actively stopping or cutting back projects that don't support the vision, even if they're old favorites or someone's pet project.
Cutting the dead wood strategically.
Precisely. And also reviewing targets. Are they realistic but ambitious? You don't want to burn people out with impossible goals.
Nor let them get complacent with easy wins.
Exactly. Finding that productive stretch.
Yeah, and this really touches on how strategy gets operationalized. I remember this healthcare organization facing that exact challenge. Lots of great ideas, but the budgets seemed disconnected.
How did they fix it?
They brought in this really transparent cross-functional planning process. Every single budget line had to be directly linked to a specific strategic goal, visible to everyone.
Transparency again.
Huge impact. It sped up critical patient care initiatives, obviously, but it also boosted staff morale because people could finally see how their work connected to where the money was going.
So it's not just financial plumbing. It connects to people's sense of purpose.
Absolutely. Great.
Okay, that leads perfectly into the fourth and maybe the most overarching lever, holding leadership accountable for the full chain.
Bringing it all together.
Right. Boards often focus heavily on the outcomes, the end results of transformation, which is important, obviously. But effective governance also needs to track the quality of the process itself, that whole chain we talked about.
The how matters as much as the what.
Exactly. So this means demanding real transparency, progress, and setbacks, no sugarcoating. It might mean encouraging more decentralized decision-making, empowering teams, but still keeping those clear lines of accountability.
Trust but verify, maybe?
Something like that. And maybe most importantly, keeping that vision alive. Consistent communication, making it resonant, keeping it front and center for everyone.
And the data backs this up powerfully. Organizations where leadership accountability is high, they are several times more likely to outperform their peers in transformation.
Just several times.
Yeah, it's not a small difference. It's a massive predictor of success. It really underpins the whole effort, creates that culture of ownership.
Okay, this is all incredibly valuable, but how do you, listening now, maybe as a board member or a leader, actually put this into practice? Are there specific tools?
Yes, thankfully. The sources offer some really practical tools boards can use right away.
Great, let's hear them.
Okay, first, think about a transformation dashboard, but not just the usual financial KPIs. include metrics for cultural alignment, for tracking behavioral changes, for how resources are actually allocated against priorities, and for execution progress, a holistic view.
Beyond just the balance sheet.
Way beyond. Second, alignment audits. Maybe annually, maybe even twice a year. A specific checkup. Are strategy, culture, budgets, and execution still talking to each other? Are they still aligned?
A regular health check for the chain.
Exactly. Third, scenario planning. What happens if the market tanks, or a key leader leaves, or disruptive technology appears? Boards need to think through how these shocks could break the chain and plan for resilience.
Proactive stress testing.
Right. And finally, something called stakeholder storytelling. Encourage leadership to share progress, not just through charts and numbers, but through real stories.
Stories.
Yeah, stories from employees, from customers, from different parts of the business, showing the real impact of the transformation. It makes it human, tangible, much more compelling than just KPIs.
That's a great set of tools. So, wrapping this up, the core message seems crystal clear. Boards that really get involved in governing that whole chain, from the initial vision right through to execution, they don't just oversee strategy.
They actually deliver transformation, meaningful change.
Yeah, by actively linking strategy and culture, making sure behavior lines up, aligning the money, and holding leaders accountable for the whole process.
That's how boards create the right conditions for success that last. It's how a vision stops being just words.
And becomes real impact, cultural change, competitive advantage.
Exactly. Measurable results, a stronger organization.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening, a question drawn straight from the source material. Is your board actively governing the chain that turns vision into reality?
Or are you just trusting that somehow it'll happen on its own?